This video is sponsored by Anoa Mother Care. Great stuff for great kids.
My name is Sheena Love. I'm a Oshika Owuswansa. I'm a petroleum geologist. I have 2 boys. The first one is 3 years and the second is 1 year, 6 months. For us, we didn't have a straightforward kind of pregnancy. We got married and then in 2012, 8 years ago, and then we said, okay, we'll wait for a year and then have a baby. And then I had to go work out of the country, and my husband was also working up and down, also working out of the country as well. So it was okay for us. Then after the first year, we got pregnant. We're so happy and everything. Unfortunately, just before the end of the first trimester, we lost the pregnancy, and then that was it. That was getting towards the second year, and then that was it. Nothing was happening again. No pregnancy, nothing. And then I went to run a series of tests to be sure that what could be the issue, because I got pregnant at first. So what's happening now? And then everything showed that I was okay. There was no fibroid. They used all this dye to pass through your fallopian tube to see if there was an issue or not. There was nothing. Then he also went to do his test and everything was okay. So I said, okay, we're on it. And it's honestly, maybe today I'm laughing, but back then it wasn't easy, because there was one particular month, the way we were having sex, I thought, oh, this was a month we're going to get pregnant, but nothing. And it was so depressing. I think I put on my biggest weight during that period of waiting, because I could go buy a box of pizza, sit down and just eat everything. And my husband was very, very supportive during this period, because one time he sat me down and was like, so why are you doing this to yourself? And then one day you wake up and you find out God has answered your prayers to have a baby, and you're just eating, and it really got me thinking that I don't know, it was difficult. I did have some good friends along that period who they were also going through similar stuff of delay in pregnancy. So we supported each other through talks, and it really, really helped. There were 9 other ladies that we came together for this. Yeah, so it helped a lot. Then there was in 2016. I told my husband we should go for a vacation. We have family in the US and all, but he said no, because of work we should postpone it. And I said no, I know we are going to get more busy at work very soon. So if I don't take the vacation now, I don't know how it's going to go again. So he said, okay, since it's family, I could just go, and then later on we go together. So I went to see my family, had a good time, then came back. I don't know whether being in a different environment after so many, because when you are in one environment, you're going to work home, the stress and everything. So I was very relaxed and everything. The last thing on my mind at that time was even to get pregnant, because I came back to work and I just delved into work and everything was just going on smoothly. Then one morning I wasn't feeling too okay. It was around September also. So I went to the hospital. I felt I was expecting my period. It didn't come. So my husband was like, we should take the home test. I said, no, I don't want to do it at home. And if it is negative, I'll be very, very heartbroken. I want to do it in a hospital, so that even if it's negative, I'll have the doctor talk to me and then I'll feel a bit better. But for the home one, I'm not doing it again. I won't. So I held on, and then when I went to the work the following day, during lunch period, I went to the hospital, and then they ran the test. Then they brought it, and it was I think it was it 6 weeks or 7 weeks or so. I was just sitting there. I couldn't believe I couldn't believe it. I was shocked because we've been trying for so many years now and nothing was happening, and out of the blue, pregnant just like that. No medication, nothing. It just happened. We couldn't believe it. I went home, we were both shocked. So we called our parents. I called my mom. My dad had passed, so I called my mom. We also called his parents, and then, but we still kept it. It was just them we told because of what had happened the first pregnancy. We're just being very careful that if you tell everyone and then you lose it along the way, it means you would have to tell everybody again, oh, I've lost a baby. So we just kept it close. The first pregnancy, the first boy, once I was pregnant, I was happy. I wasn't bothered about the sex. I just wanted a healthy child. That's all. A healthy child. My husband, in addition to having a healthy child, he was hoping that it would be a boy. So we checked and it was a boy. He was so happy. And I was at 68 kg then. But because I lost the first pregnancy, I wasn't, and we weren't sure. The hospital couldn't tell what caused it. I didn't want to restrict myself too much. Whatever I was craving for, I ate. Hey, I was eating a lot. Afternoon, I'll eat fufu every afternoon. Then in the evenings, I'll eat cake. That was all a lot of the time, that was all I was eating. At a point, my mom had to beg me and said, please, I beg, as for the fufu there, just eat the plantain, only plantain fufu, don't eat too much cassava. So I was just eating. I ballooned from 68 to like 90 kg for the first baby. And then the second baby, okay, let me finish with the first. So that's what happened. So at 38 weeks, just at the start of, I think the Sunday will be the start of the 38 weeks. My husband's best friend and the guy who was his best man, they came to visit us with the wife. And the following day will be his birthday, which was 8th May, a Monday. And then he said, my mom said I should tell you, you are going to give birth tomorrow. And then my husband and I said, no, it's not possible. It's the dates they gave us that's not when the baby will be around my husband's birthday, but he's also a May born. But getting to the end of the month, so we said no. I said okay. So around and throughout the pregnancy, I'm always feeling hot. The AC will be at the lowest, and I'll still be feeling very, very hot. But one evening, I fell asleep on the couch, and then I woke up to pee. Around, when I looked at the clock, it was around 1 a.m. My husband called me several times. I was like, oh, he just left me to rest on the couch. And then it was around 1 a.m. and I felt like peeing, so I rushed the washroom, but the pee was coming too much than the usual pee. So I was like, what kind of pee is this? I didn't even get a chance to remove everything, and then the pee was coming plenty. And I said, nah, I think this could be because getting from, I think 37 weeks, I was having a heavier, I was wearing pad because sometimes I'll have a heavier flow of just some light water. So, but I realized that the pad had a little show of blood. So I took a photo of it, and then I went to tell my husband that I think my water broke because the way the water came plenty. He raised his head, he was like, are you sure? Because he was sleeping. Then he went back to sleep. And I called him again. I was like, I said, I'm in labor. I think I am in labor. My water broke, so we have to go to the hospital. He didn't understand. And we had not packed the hospital bed, the bag. We hadn't packed anything because we thought, oh, baby will come 40 weeks. We hadn't packed anything. I had my brother ship things. I bought things online and they shipped it from the US for me. But I didn't wash any of them because for me, when I buy something new, I always wash it before I use it. It doesn't matter whether it's sealed or I always wash it. We hadn't washed it, so I called him and said, I told you to prepare the bag. You haven't done it now. The baby is coming. So he got up, went to put the things in the washing machine and then washed everything and then put it all around him so that it would dry. And then he got the bag ready. But we couldn't pack the things because the things were not dry. So I went back to sleep. I wasn't feeling any pain, so I went back to sleep. Then around 5, I told him I was now feeling very cold, extremely cold, which was strange because I always feel hot when I was pregnant. So I told him, please, I need to bath warm water because I'm feeling very, very cold. So he prepared the warm water for me, and then I bathed. And we went to the hospital. That was around 7 a.m. So I told them that I'm feeling some light cramps. So maybe I'm in labor. And I think my water broke. They were like, are you sure? Did you have show? And I showed them the picture of my pad with the blood. And they said, oh, okay, it's really your mucus plug has removed. So they called the midwife to check my cervix. And the midwife checked and she was like, yeah, 5 centimeters gone already. And I was like, really? Because I was waiting. You know, you hear all the stories of painful labor and everything, but my mom had told me for all of us she's never had any pain. She goes to hospital in the morning and then she'll give birth and that was it. So I was like, okay, maybe I picked after her. So I was on the bed and then I WhatsApp the doctor I always saw, but he was not on duty that day. But I told him that, oh, I'm in the hospital. They said I'm in labor. So, and then he said, oh, I don't think so. If you're in labor, you wouldn't be WhatsApping me. No, so I'll see you later in the evening. I said, okay, no problem. Then around 11 something, they came to check again and they said, oh, I'm fully dilated. So they had to take me to the delivery room. I didn't know what to expect because nothing showed that was, to me, what I was expecting. No pains. It was just like small menstrual cramps. The only thing was I threw up at a point. That was the only different thing. So we went to the delivery room and I didn't know. I was just sitting there on the bed. And the midwife was like, hey, madam, when you feel the cramp again, then you try to push with the cramp. You don't just sit there and expect the baby to come on its own. I said, oh, okay, I didn't know. So my husband was standing beside me. I was now trying to just say, hey, they're pushing, I'm fully dilated, but the baby is not coming. Hey, I was pushing. And I said, you're not pushing. I said, so how will I push again? I was pushing. Then finally, hey, and I had never seen my husband pray like that before. Like, me that was in labor, like, I looked at him like this and I was wondering, hey, what are you doing? Like, he held so much to me and was praying and said, love, force, push, you can do it. He was praying. I honestly, I almost laughed because I had never seen him pray with so much vigor and seriousness. But it seems the baby was just too big. So they said they had to do episiotomy to bring the baby out. So they did that. Once they cut, then they had somebody was pressing my stomach so that, and then they also used the suction to, oh, that one was painful because the pressing of my stomach for the baby, hey, that was where I felt the pain. But luckily the baby came out. But he came out and then he didn't, you know, in movies, baby will come out and baby is crying. I didn't hear my baby cry. So instead of, I was like, the baby is not crying. Why is the baby not crying? And at that point, to be honest, I was gripped with fear. I was like, hey, after all this, I will not go home with my baby. And then they said, they'll check. So everybody's attention now went on the baby. They tried to do some things and then he just cried more and then he stopped. And I was like, why? And I said, the way you are tired, he's tired because he was down, lodged in your cervix for so long. Even though it wasn't, like, my labor was very rapid from 1 a.m. when the water broke and I gave her before 12 in the afternoon, so it wasn't a full day or anything. It didn't keep long, yes. Because we got to the hospital at 7, and before 12 I had given birth, so. But he was lodged down a bit, so. But by God's grace, he was fine, everything was fine. And then I think after 2 days or so, we went home. The second baby, because we delayed, there was delay in pregnancy for the first baby. We both thought it would be the same for the second baby. So we were not taking any so much precautions. We would use CDs at a point. At some point, we used the natural method. I didn't want to go on any pills because it had made me put on weight at a point. So I said, no, I wouldn't do any pills or anything. I even had the arm implant, but it disturbed my menses at a point. It will come dark and somewhere. I said, no, I'm not going to do any of that. So we just stopped all of that. We're going the natural method. Then the firstborn wasn't feeling well at a point, and I took him to the hospital. And I said, me myself, I've not been feeling well. I've been exercising, but my stomach is bloated. I feel like there's so much bloating. I don't know. So I increased my abs workout. I was doing more crunches, doing a lot of crunches. Then I'll do plank, everything. But still, my tummy was bloated. I don't know what's going on. So when I got to the hospital, the way I was feeling, so I said they should check if I had malaria or anything. And the doctor said, okay, in addition to malaria, we'll check pregnancy. It's normal for ladies to check that. I said, oh, it cannot be pregnancy. How? I said, okay, let's check. And she had the scan in her office, so she said, okay, for when you are not sure, they did a blood test, and then it came out positive. I was like, no, I don't believe it. So she did the scan again, and the scan said 10 weeks, 3 days. I was like, wow, that's like almost this first trimester had gone, and I had no idea. I was shocked. So my husband was not in Accra by then. I took a photo of the scan and I sent it to him that, hey, I'm bad too. He was also shocked, but well, it was welcome news. So, and this time around, the pregnancy was easy breezy, but I realized the tummy itself was so big that when people saw me, they thought I was carrying twins, but I was just one. When I get up, I'll feel so much pains at my back. I even had to buy something that would hold the pregnancy up, or I had to put my hand under the pregnancy for a while before I feel okay. It was so painful. Like when you stand for so long, I'll have leg cramps. In the evening, I'll get muscle pull, and it was very, very painful. So I had to buy, there was this compression socks. I always slept it in the evening. If not, if I make a mistake and just stretch a little, it was painful. That's muscle pull. Then around, I think I gave her in February. So November, before the February, I went to the hospital, and then they said my sugar was very, very high. I didn't understand because I don't take sugar. This is someone who was always health conscious, apart from the fact that I put on so much weight during the first. I didn't understand how my sugar could have just shot so high up. They told me I should come the following day and repeat it the same. So the Monday, they said there was another lab in East Legon that they believe if they get it from there, then for sure. So when leaving home that day, I told my husband, let's pack the things. Let's pack my bag. I have a feeling, because they had wanted to keep me in the hospital that Sunday, and I said no. So let's pack, because the way 2 times and it's so high, let's pack. So we carried our things, and then when we went to the hospital, again, it was very high. It was 16, which was extremely high. So that day they told me I was going to be admitted, and gestational diabetes, it can happen at any time, and sometimes there's nothing, it's pregnancy induced. So just like people have the high blood pressure and all those things, yes. So but I was lucky. It didn't come with high blood pressure, but it was there. And I hated needles. Needles, that I don't like needles. I don't like injections. I rather take medications. But because of how high the sugar levels was, I was put on insulin shots, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and then I also take the pills. And they had to do it on my thighs. Apart from that, I was always getting pricked. Before I eat, they'll prick me to check the sugar level. After breakfast, before lunch, after 2 hours after lunch, before dinner, and then 2 hours after dinner. The tip of my tongues became very, like, it became hard. And it was painful. I was in the hospital, and you know, the hospital environment is not home. So I could not, even though I was in a private room, just me with my washroom, but still, I got constipated at a point. So I was feeling so uneasy. I even had a ball in between on my eyes at a point, on my butt. Hey, what is this? And the way it was looking, it seemed like I was going to celebrate Christmas in the hospital. I said, no, I don't want to be here this Christmas. My birthday, I was looking for I spent the birthday in the hospital bed. And we didn't even know, because there was nothing showed that I was going down. Today it will come to 10 or 9, then the following morning it's gone up again. There was nothing that showed anything was working. The medication was still we're increasing the dose and everything. Like, hey, God, what's going on? Then I told the hospital, I want to go home. I think it was just a week or some few days to Christmas. I want to go home. They said, no, with your situation, we wouldn't advise you to go home. It would be best you are in the hospital for us to monitor you. And I said, I know that, but I also feel I'll heal better when I'm home, when I'm in my environment, which I feel more comfortable with. Even though the hospital, everything is fine, but I just felt I needed to be home. So they made me write a letter. They also made me write a letter that I forced them to release me. And so should anything happen to me, then the hospital will not be held liable. It's all on me. So I said, okay, fine, I'll write the letter, no problem. So I wrote the letter, signed, and then gave it to them, and then I was discharged. I came home. And 2, I think I did the medication, and I had to inject myself every morning now. They gave me plenty needles. So every morning I'll inject my thighs, 2 in the morning and then 2 in the evening. Then take the medications. And at a point I said, no, I can't be pricking myself, the tip of my fingers, then my thighs every day. No, this can't happen. So I told God, you gave me this miracle baby. I am not going to be doing this, so I'm trusting you to do another miracle. I'm going to stop taking the medication, but you'd have to bring my sugar levels down. So I was keeping a food diary and a sugar. So when I take the measurements, I use the glycometer to take my blood sugar level. I write it down. So I have what I ate, morning, afternoon, evening, snack, then the various values. I wrote all those things down. So I stopped taking the injections. I was taking the medications they wrote for me, but the injections I stopped. But it was just between my husband and I. We prayed about it. It was a risky thing we did, but I guess faith was working by then. We didn't tell the doctor what we had done. So every week we went to the hospital for a review, and it's like, wow, your levels are coming down. You see, everything is working. So they will reduce the dosage small and said, when you go, reduce the dose. Now take it up, take the injection to this point. We said, okay, we'll go home. No, we didn't take the injection. So I just took the medications, and we went on like that until there was one Saturday. I was going for review every Saturday. So one Saturday I went again, and then the doctor checked my service. He said he has to check my service because it was 38 weeks to see if I'm getting there. And he checked and said, oh, your service is so hard. This one, I am sure in another 2 weeks before your baby will come. So when we go home, I was telling my husband, I'm tired. This baby, I've stayed in the hospital, I've come. When you're standing, cry, you have to put your hand under your stomach. And in fact, let me backtrack a bit. The baby, all the things I felt for the first, I didn't feel for this baby. The first one, I could not stand any smell. I didn't want any no perfume, nothing. So my husband stopped using his perfume. He stopped using his deodorant spray. He can only use roll-on. He couldn't use any shower gel that had perfume. He had to use soap, mild soap. All the people in my office, I told them I can't stand their perfume. And especially the guys, I don't know why, but I couldn't stand their perfume. So they all had to stop spraying their perfume, those in my immediate office, because of me. My husband had to stop. But the second one, I couldn't smell nothing. Everything was fine. So I was convinced I was having a girl. Every time we went to check on the scan, this baby would cross the legs. So we couldn't see the genitals to tell that it was a boy or a girl. Every time the baby will be doing giddy giddy. Immediately you enter the doctor's room, the baby is quiet. Then he'll cross the leg. Hey. So I told the doctor, oh, I'm sure it's a girl. He said, just hold on. I ordered girl stuff, ribbons, pink towels, everything pink. I was happy. I was having a girl. Then getting to the last, and before they checked, and they finally saw that I was another boy, I said, oh, it's not true. I don't think he's another boy. Until I give birth, I don't believe that the scan is right. So let's wait till I give birth, then we'll see. So now back to when the doctor said, oh, 2 weeks time, then you would have a baby. I said, okay. We go home and I was complaining to my husband, I'm tired. So I asked him, is any of his siblings Sunday born? We went to, I said, no, me too. None of my siblings is Sunday born. Today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. This baby should come tomorrow because I'm tired, so that we can have a Sunday born in the family. So we just laughed and then went to bed. Then around 5 or so, no, around 3, I woke up to pee, and then this one, I didn't have any gushing, nothing, but I was feeling small cramps. So I said, okay, let me, from experience, I realized that if it's labor, it will come consistently. So like you will time it, and then you know it's regular. So I timed it, and I realized, no, it's coming some few minutes apart. So I told my husband, I think this baby is coming. He said, okay. And because of what happened the last time, this time around, by 35 weeks, we had the bag packed and everything packed. So I called the hospital and I said, I think I'm in labor because I'm having small cramps. And they said, okay, come to the hospital. That was around 3 something. Come to the hospital. I told my husband, I'm feeling sleepy, so you let me sleep. When I wake up, then we go. So I woke up around 5. Then he did my warm water as usual for that morning. Only that morning I was feeling cold again. And then I bathed and we left. So when we got to the hospital, this time we got there very early, around 5:30, and they said, you called us at 3, and why are you now coming? I said, oh, I wasn't feeling pain, so I thought it's not labor. So anyway, I'm here so they can check. Then they checked, and again I was 7 centimeters dilated. But I was chatting with my husband, so the nurses didn't understand. I said, the same girl when you were here, even injection, you were always fighting with us to inject you. How come you are in labor, you are not feeling pain? So I'm like, that's how my own is. I don't feel any pain. I only threw up, and on the way, I threw up even on the way before we got to the hospital. At a point, I was chatting with my husband, and then I dozed off because I was feeling so sleepy. I didn't really sleep from that 3 a.m. I didn't really sleep deeply. So he had to wake me up again and said, you say your baby is coming and you are sleeping. I said, I'm feeling sleepy, so let the baby come. Call the doctor and let the midwife for them to come and check. And then the doctor, they had a new doctor on shift, not the regular one that I saw. So he said, no, if we are checking you continuously like that, we are also introducing infections. So we would have to wait for some few hours. I said, doctor, no, this is not your regular labor. My labor the last time was fast, so I'm sure this one will even be faster. So please let them check, because I feel this time around, the cramping wasn't even like cramping. I was feeling like when you keep urine within you for so long, that was how I was feeling. So I told them, no, I feel something wants to come out. So let the midwife check. Then the midwife checked and said, "Doc, she's ready. She needs to go to the labor now. So we went. And honestly, I was scared because of the gestational diabetes and how big my stomach was. Even though on the scan, they were saying baby size was okay. The first one, when I gave it, was 3.85. The first boy. So this one, they were saying because gestational diabetes can make the baby grow so big. So I should be ready for anything. So in fact, I called my friends who had CS. I was preparing my mind, and even that one was even more scary because they tell you they'll put the catheter there and everything. I was like, hey, what is all this? So when I heard, oh, let's go to the delivery, I was like, okay, let's see. I was still. Then I remembered how painful when they pushed my stomach and everything. I said, hey God, am I going to go through the same thing again? We entered the delivery room. I looked at the clock on the wall. It was 8 in the morning, Sunday morning. And the doctor, I got there, said push. I pushed. The doctor said, no, I'm pushing from your throat. Push from the down. I was like, really? Okay. And because of the first experience, this time I gave this by, second push, the baby was out. Like, we got in 8 o'clock. Before 8:05, the baby was out. And he was screaming, shouting. I was like, is it a boy or a girl? I wanted to be sure. When I looked in, it was a boy. I was like, okay, at least we thank God he's healthy and everything. And for him, immediately I put into my breast, he was sucking like somebody. I think he was already doing that already. I was shocked because the first one, he was so slow in sucking, but he launched onto the breast so quickly. It was yeah. So I after we came back to the ward, I called the doctor who saw me the day before, who said, 2 weeks. I was like, Doc, my baby is in. He was like, you're lying. But I checked you yesterday and the way your cervix was hard, there's no way you can be delivering. I said, call your other doctors and check. My baby is in. So he came that day to see us and he was so shocked. And for me, I think it was just, as Christians, it's just God. Yeah, it's just God. So the first baby, because we had him in the 5th year of marriage. Yeah, so everybody was excited, the parents, family, friends, everybody was pleasantly surprised because it's been a long time, and then they didn't even know I was pregnant, and then this has happened. So a lot of them did not even know I was pregnant the first time and had a miscarriage and all. So I was expecting, the fanfare of everything. Then reality, what you think and reality, I have a lot of aunties on my mom's side. So I thought, after I've delivered, everybody will be around me. I didn't even have to worry about who's going to carry the baby and everything. But no, I don't know if they all felt maybe when I was pregnant, I should have carried them along on the journey. But, when you've had a miscarriage, you are scared. When it happens the next time, you are scared. All you are praying is that everything should go well. Then you can share the good news. You don't want going around sharing the good news and then you now tell them, I lost it. But I guess with our culture, people don't really understand certain things, especially our older folks. They want you have to tell us. And then, so that support I thought I would have, it was not really there from the beginning. And I struggled getting a proper nanny. I went through a number of nannies, especially the first one, to get somebody to be at home, But just when I got pregnant with the second one, I got another nanny, and she had even not been with anybody before. So it's sort of, I had to train her with everything, and she has more or less become like family. Her family call me, and I also call them and everything. And so she's been with us, and she and my mom, especially, she didn't come to stay continuously, but she would go and come and spend some days with us, and then go back to her home and then come. So they have been the main piece of, and my husband, yes. Yes. I'm always grateful to God for him, because he's been very supportive from the waiting period to the pregnancies. He did not miss any of my antenatal appointments. Every one of it he went with me, both for the first and the second. He went with me, every one of them. Even the first one, before we found out that I had gotten gestational diabetes. I felt sick, was throwing up and everything. He was the one cleaning up after me and everything. He was even supposed to travel, but some way, somehow, he was supposed to travel to the UK during that same period. And some way, somehow, God's doing, the travel didn't come on. And then he was home. Because if not, I don't know who would have taken me to the hospital during that period to check, and then we'll find out. So he's been amazing from the firstborn. Even before I got the first nanny, after the firstborn turned 6 months or so, and I could leave from 2-3 months. I could leave the baby with him. Even when we got home, when I started, what I did exclusive, but it wasn't all through the breast. I'll pump a lot because I was having a lot of breast milk. So I'll pump the breast milk, then leave the baby with him in the afternoons. Then I'll sleep, and he would give the baby the breast milk and everything. So from when we came from the hospital, he's been hands-on supportive from, I don't know, honestly. If he wasn't there, I don't know how I would have done it, but he's been hands-on supportive from day one, from throughout all of it. I'll pump the breast milk. When he is home, I even feel more relaxed to sleep, yes, than my nanny or even my mom. At a point, I know, oh, my husband is around, so when I pump the breast milk, I can sleep soundly throughout the afternoon, and then he would. So he has been very supportive. Then my mom, and then my nanny. Then once in a while, I have some 1 or 2 aunties who come around, and then they would help. But for the first one, I did exclusive for that 6 months. And then it was a struggle. He didn't want to eat anything. Even from spoon, it was a big struggle. We had to do his cereals in a feeding bottle that we had cut the tip much bigger so that he could take in. He didn't want to eat anything. Even till now, he's a picky eater, the first baby. But the second one, I don't know, I felt the way I struggled after the exclusive. I told my husband, no, from 5 months, I know you can start giving some baby cereals, which you can even start from 4 months. So from 5 months, we'll start. So that's what I did. I started introducing it gradually, and he eats everything. So I would boil sweet potato with carrots, then I'll blend, and then with chicken, then I'll blend, or I'll puree it, and then he'll eat. I will do that sometimes with ripe. He really liked the ripe plantain one, because I don't know, because it was sweet. So I'll do that, ripe plantain with chicken or fish or shrimp powder, then mix it. There was always carrots in there or peas. I always had the vegetables in there, then mix it with it. But now, after 1 year, he's eating proper food. He doesn't even want any of the puree food, unless it's smoothie. They both love smoothies. I don't know whether because I was taking a lot of smoothies, so they both love smoothies. And even carrots, tomatoes. When they see big, ripe, red tomatoes, they can eat it like how you eat apple. I had to take it from them. So yeah, they both like vegetables, which is good. To be honest, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but I've had the support. I've been blessed to have the support of my husband, who would, every time, he also works, sometimes works take him out of town or out of the country, but once he's home, I feel more relaxed. When he's not around, I feel so stressed. I can't do a lot of things. But when he's around, I know I am relaxed. But I get help from my mom, and then my help sometimes. Recently, they went to spend 1 month at my mom's place. So they were away for a month, and then we had just us at home for a while. But yeah, it's to be honest, everybody needs a support system. No, we all can't do it on our own. So the women, like, we're a superwoman, we have to work hard and do. No. Being a superwoman does not mean you have to be stressed, drenched in sweat and looking. No, it doesn't have to be so. Being a superwoman should also means you should be able to know how to delegate certain things. You should be able to know what you can handle and then what you can let somebody help you with. So I have a help who helps with them. Then my mom also comes in every now and then. My husband, number one help. He's always there. So that's what has been there, because if not, I don't know how. I left the first one the second one when he was 6 months. I traveled out of the country, but I was for, I think, just a week or so. And then again, when he was it 8 months? But my husband was around during those periods, so I was more relaxed about it to travel. Even though my mom came over, because I know my husband was home with them, I was more relaxed. So yeah, family support has been a key part of it all. Yeah.
Right.
1 minute they are BFS, then the next minute, they are fighting over. They have the toys, they have plenty, but one person picks one thing, and then there's the second one, especially, I don't know. Whatever the elder brother picks, he wants the same thing. Even if the same thing is there, he would leave his own and he wants to take that thing. So you would have to find a way to tell him, no, you don't do that. That's why you have your own. You have to take your own. Or he will scream, and he doesn't cry, he just screams. Because you think he's crying, you go and there are no tears. He will just be screaming and shouting. So we had to find a way to always make sure we don't encourage that behavior, because we feel when he goes to school resumes right now, and he goes to school, is he going to do the same thing to other kids, take their toys, and because he wants to do it, so he has to know. So he screams and shouts, but we don't budge. Once in a while, the brother has sympathy on him, and then just the brother is more calm and more. So everything he wants, the brother just gives it to him. But sometimes he also gets angry, and then they'll start fighting. What I realized though is the first one felt all attention went to the second born. So, and he realized the second born was, he obviously is not talking so well because he's just 1 year and 6 months. So these days the first one has refused to talk or anything. When he wants something, he will point, because that is what the first one is doing. Or he'll do because that is what the second one is doing. You tell him, talk, what do you want? No. And sometimes the second one will cry when he wants something. So the firstborn, he also does the same thing, because he feels, if this is what the boy is doing together, I must do the same thing. So he will stop talking. He won't say anything. I got scared. I asked my husband, are you sure we don't have to take him to hospital for evaluation? He said, no, he is fine. He just wants attention. And truly, you will hear him playing with his toys, and then he's talking. He will ask the toys, how are you? Good morning. You fall down. Don't do that. Get down. He's talking to his toys. But you ask him, how are you? He won't mind. He will just be looking at you. Then you tell him, So, for me, it's the waiting period. You hear people say all kinds of things. And I think our society, we need to stop asking people, when are you giving birth? Or when is number 2 coming? When is number 3 coming? Or you have all girls, you should have a boy. Or you have all boys, you should have a girl. You don't know the challenges people are going through. As I said earlier, I had 9 other ladies, and we were all in this waiting period. By God's grace, we are all getting pregnant one after the other and having our babies by God's grace. But it hasn't been easy. If not for my husband and those ladies during those periods, I don't know how I would have gone through, honestly. Because somebody will meet you and the things they will tell you, I've been told before. Today you are in South Africa, tomorrow they are in the US, the next day you are in the UK, you are in Dubai. Stay at one place and get pregnant. Are you the only woman who has quit her job to work before? Stop your work and sit at home and get pregnant. And some of these people are your friends, and they tell you this, and sometimes they say it's like a joke, but you sit down and then it hits you. You're like, what is the guarantee that when you quit your job and you sit at home, you are going to get pregnant? What shows? That would even get you more frustrated. So people need to know not to say such things. And it's funny how it's always directed at the woman. Everybody sees you. Oh, you have to sit at home and get pregnant. Why? I wasn't the only one traveling up and down. Both of us were traveling, and we both understood each other. And the time we felt we were ready, we both streamlined our schedules to be home most of the time around the same time. But to quit completely and sit at home, what shows that if I come to stay at home, or he comes to stay at home, or both of us come to stay at home, we're going to get pregnant anyway? And you know, one thing too, sometimes during this period, the workplace gives you some, I don't know, because at least you have something you are achieving, so it gives you some joy. You do some work, you have a target, you meet your target or you exceed your target. That is even joy enough. But if I let that also go, then I come and sit down, oh, because I need to have a baby, so, and it's not happening, I would have even been more frustrated, you know. And you know the funny thing, even after the first baby, we decided, my husband and I decided we will not cut the firstborn hair until he's 1 year. Then, like a joke, a family member asked, why haven't you guys cut your son's, Gabby's hair? And his hair grows very fast. And I said, oh, we are waiting till after 1 year. And said, oh, really? Some people would think you probably went for the baby from a babalawo. And what the babalawo told you is, don't cut the baby's hair until you are 1 year. The baby is 1 year. So that's why you are waiting. Hey, I was shocked. I just could not believe it. I could not believe it that even after this miracle, somebody still does not believe that God made this possible, and felt, oh no, the only way you could have gotten pregnant was to go and see some juju man somewhere or some babalawo somewhere for you to get pregnant. That is how low our society has sunk. Like, it's the journey has been frustrating. It has been. Today I can look back and smile and share my story very easily, but it wasn't easy like that, because people will see you, and I think I must applaud my husband too, because I'm sure he's also heard things from his friends, family, I don't know, but he always makes sure nothing, whatever he has, it doesn't get to me. He will filter everything. It does not get to me. I wouldn't know if people on his side were giving, but my mother-in-law has also been very, very good. She's been very supportive. She will call us, encourage us, pray with us, as good. You hear stories of mothers-in-law storming homes and telling you, go out of my son's house, blah, blah, blah. I mean, nothing of that sort from her. She's been I'm very grateful to her. She's been very, very good when it comes to support and everything. She's been my in-laws. No, but none of my in-laws have called me on phone before and say, hey, so won't you give birth? Or they also know I was traveling. None of them had told me, stop traveling, quit your job and stay home. But friends that you thought, oh, we are the same issues, understand this, and they are the ones who tell you this. They will always say, oh, there's this medicine. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried this? I just blacked out everything. Like, honestly, no. Like, it's crazy. Our society, honestly, we have a long way to go. We haven't reached there yet. We have a long way to go. And until it happened to me, I didn't know this is how stressful it was. Because I also thought at first, oh, once you get married, you are pregnant, that's it. So myself, personally, in the past, I've asked people that question, hey, when is the baby coming? You know, and you, the one who is asking, you will think it's a harmless question. But based on what the couple are going through, then it's not harmless. It's not. For all you know, the day you're asking that question, that was the day the person had a miscarriage. But because they are not home or they don't have it written on their face, you think, oh, everything, but people are going through so much. People have gotten pregnant, lost the babies, but they're still smiling, and people don't know this, and they are just saying all kinds of things. So our society really need to be more, I don't know, they they need to be more in tune and in touch and be more human in some of the things. Don't ask when are you having a baby. Just leave couples. If they'll have. Besides, not everybody wants to have a child. There are some couples who marry and that's not their priority. If a baby comes, yes. So they don't have to come and tell you that we don't want to have a baby before you know. You know, people should stop asking such questions. It can be really depressing. And I've had so many people that after I giving birth who sent me messages that they were praying for me, and I had no idea, which I felt was very good. Friends, people that I didn't even have any idea, but so for me, today I want to use this opportunity to thank all of them, people who have supported me in prayers, us in prayers, even our pastors in church, you know, because you go and see them, you feel, as Christians, you feel you also need a higher person to support you in your prayers. So our pastors in church, they've been very supportive, always praying with us and everything. So for us, it's all just by the grace of God. They are our miracle babies, honestly. We didn't know they would come, and even will be two at the time we had the second one. So yeah, it's been amazing. And when your boys, my sons will come and then just out of the blue plant kisses all over me and do mwah, mwah. Like, it just melts my heart. Or they look at you and then they smile. Or when you go out and they come home and they would just run to, you know, embrace you. It used to be, we have a small poodle. It used to be just a poodle alone that used to welcome me at home previously, you know. It reminded me of my mom when I used to work offshore. When I'm going, my husband is also not around. I used to take the dog to my mom. So they used to tell my mom, oh, your grand dog, they brought you your grand dog to take care of. Because, yes, there's no baby, it's a dog you're taking care of. So you can imagine. So anyway, yeah. Now she's taking care of grandchildren, not grand dogs anymore. Yeah, we thank God. Yeah, and yes, I think back and I felt he made everything right on time. At the time I was getting pregnant and everything, work has slowed down a bit. We're not drilling. Everything was much slower at work for the first one. The second one, though, in the middle we're drilling, was just one well, and then everything is quiet right now. So for me, I don't question his ways anymore. I don't question it. Sometimes you don't know what he's planning for you. You think, oh, I have all the answers and everything. But when you trust in him, you put your faith in him. Trust in him, but don't just sit down doing nothing. Just live your life, and then he would make it happen. And we should not tell people, quit your job and sit at home and get pregnant or do. No, that decision should be your own decision to make. Nobody should force anyone to stop whatever they are doing because a part of their life is not going the way we or society think it should go. So they have to stop everything else. No, our lives are different. We use different ways to get to a point. So we should not, the society has to stop that. Yeah.
This video was brought to you by One Mother Care. Great stuff for great kids.